Hi there, it's Elaine Gardner, the founder of DesignYourHealthyLife.com. I just got back from a wonderful vacation with my family, and while I was away, I planned the content for my next newsletter. When I got home and looked at my schedule, I realized I had very little time available. So instead of pushing myself to create the content that I had planned for, I decided to take the advice that I would give to a friend or a client in a similar situation. And instead of pushing myself and creating some stress around the lack of time that I have to accomplish that, I decided to take a step back. So this week, I will only be delivering this short video to you. Again, because I'm taking my own advice and taking a step back and eliminating some things from my schedule to create more time for self-care and to make that a priority for me as I get back into the routine of things and from recovering from my vacation, which was wonderful, and very grateful for the time with my family, for visiting new places, but it was super busy and we had a late flight and I'm a bit overtired. So instead of pushing myself this week with and adding additional things to my schedule, I'm looking at where I can pare things back a little bit so that I can prioritize my self-care. And I think this happens a lot for people. We all have very busy lives, we have lots of commitments, and I think that when people get busy, oftentimes the first thing to go is their self-care. They'll stay up late in order to get things done around the house, or they're driving their kids around to multiple, there's a bug flying around me, multiple practices or events, music or sports or things like that. And instead of meal planning for those busy nights, they'll go through the drive-thru and be eating poor quality food that can harm their health. So I'd like to encourage you to do things differently and to take a step back before and during busy times of your lives, the seasons of the year, and see how you can prioritize your self-care, what kind of things you can drop that are non-essential. One of the filters that I use for determining what I can just drop temporarily, because I have a lot of commitments that are very important to me and I don't want to drop them overall, is to say, if I don't get this done right now, if I don't get this done today, if I don't get this done in the next few hours, what's the worst thing that could happen? If no small children will be harmed, if I'm going to drop that task, then everything is good and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to move it to another day. I'm going to move it to another week. I'm going to put it off until I have the time and the space to accomplish it without stressing myself out. So I'm encouraging you to think about those things and to get enough sleep and to really take good care of yourself instead of just getting all wrapped up in the priorities, what other people's priorities and the potential crazy busyness of most people's schedules and lifestyles these days. So I hope that serves you well. And please forgive me for not delivering a product highlight or a review section in my newsletter this week. I have lots of great ideas for you. I have the content all planned out. I just don't have the time to get it down and put pen to paper, so to speak, and get it out to you. But I'll save it till next time because I am committed to bringing you high quality content, great product reviews, so that you can have all the resources and information that you need to create the healthy life that you deserve, so you can live the life that you deserve. And just one more parting thought. Since I spent 2 decades of my life struggling with really poor health, I know that I have a reference point for taking care of myself that a lot of people don't have. So when I start to get run down or overtired, I immediately start to think about how I felt over that period of time, and I have no intention of ever going back there, and it's a significant motivator for me. Now, if you've never experienced that kind of struggle, then you don't have that motivator to remind you when you're starting to default or neglect your self-care. But I want to encourage you to think about maybe my story or whatever would motivate you when you start to neglect your self-care or minimize the prioritization of it, to remind you to get back on track. Because when you're feeling okay, it's hard to think about, you're not thinking long term, you're not thinking about prevention, but you need to be, because most people in this country are not taking care of themselves on a daily basis, and over time those things just snowball and turn into potentially life-threatening or serious health struggles. So I can't encourage you enough to prioritize your self-care and use some kind of a motivator, long-term motivator, to keep yourself from snowballing and going down that path towards poor health. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Without your health, nothing else in your life matters. So putting yourself first is a huge priority. So I hope that gives you a little bit of motivation, little bug in your ear, so to speak, to remind you when you're starting to neglect yourself a little bit. Stop and think and put yourself back on the top of that priority list, really. So I'd love to hear from you if you have any tips to share, things that help you keep on track with your self-care and to prioritize it. And if there's anything else that you need during this, I know what is a seasonal transition and what can be a busy time of the year, it truly is my passion to help people. So if there's anything additional that I can do to support you, please reach out and let me know.